Hey, do you want
All right, Julie Hodge, Calgary Fitness Podcast. Thank you so much for jumping on here. We've been trying back and forth just a little bit over the last couple of months. I mean, it's been busy with the baby in my household. Then we had COVID. We wanted to meet over in your place in Okotoks, but we decided to take a different route. We tried on Skype, didn't work. We're back on Google Meet, so this is awesome. Thank you so much for making time to do this. Why don't you start with introducing yourself, what you do, who you help, and who you serve?
Third time's a charm. Okay. My name is Julie Hodge, and the future is so bright, I have to wear my shades. And, okay.
I love that.
It's been a rough, kind of a momming day today. So, yeah, I'm just trying to bring a little energy uplift here to this. So, okay, I am Julie Hodge, and yes, I'm a mom of a 4-year-old. I have been in the fitness industry now for 30 years and have enjoyed a variety of different things, including talking with you on the radio at one point, presenting, personal training, group fitness, head coaching, new ventures, beyond. So I love working with people now over 40, and I have a very strong movement background, which is inspired by Pilates and very deep core activation techniques that I use with my clients. So evolvement over time into my practice, and yeah, I think that answers the question.
Yeah, and I want to jump back to that radio program for just a little bit. So for those of you that are listening and or watching, yes, I work in the media, and a couple of years ago, I decided to start a fitness feature, and Julie was the first name that came up, highly, highly regarded in the fitness field, and you were recently recognized, and this is your time to boost yourself up. You were recently recognized by Impact Magazine. So tell me a little bit about that honor.
I think, again, it's so bright I have to put on my sunglasses. Okay. So, hey, I'm really trying to practice humility. That's actually my goal here. No, seriously. So, okay. So once upon a time, there is a magazine called Impact Magazine. If any of you have heard of it, which started about 28-ish years ago in Calgary. They're now in Toronto and Vancouver, and people all over Canada can access it online as well. So they have, for the last few years, they've done like a top fitness trainer or top group fitness coach feature where you get nominated. So I was recently voted as one of Canada's top fitness trainers for 2020. So it has already been quite a year, this 2020. Do you want me to put my sunglasses back on?
I think you might as well just wear them for the rest of the and for those just listening to the audio right now, you have to see these shades. Like I'm talking, they're like 1950 beehives, like the reflective frames, like they are white frame. They're just gorgeous.
Right. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my honor. And so after following that magazine for so long, and I had met Elaine, the publisher, years and years and years ago when it started, it was a huge honor. Lots and lots, like hundreds, I think over the thousands of nominations. And then they have a panel of professionals in the fitness business who kind of go through all the submissions, and it's a double blind kind of thing. So they don't know who they're scoring to find and determine those 10 winners in each of those geographical regions. So in amazing company, some of the other fitness individuals and professionals. So pretty much the most amazing way to start 2020.
That is awesome. Congratulations to you. I think that's a really big honor to be bestowed on a fitness trainer, is to be recognized in that capacity. So congratulations to that first and foremost. 30 years in the industry. I mean, when you first started, do you think you envisioned yourself where you are today?
Well, you know what? I think back then I didn't really utilize a lot of like the business tools that I would do now, right? So like, visualizing where I wanted to be and setting those goals and stuff. I always kind of had a little bit of like a 5-year plan, but never did I ever think that I would have gone through the journey that I did, right? I never thought I would have a daughter. I never thought I would have a child, for one thing, which I do. So, so it's been quite an interesting journey. And but I always knew that I was going to be in this business. Like I have always had a love of movement, a love of fitness, a love of coaching and teaching, and most importantly, helping to educate, because that information is not any one single person's information. It's like for everybody to share. And so kind of doing my part to help serve in that way was always something that I did know was going to be my goal, no matter how it looked, or my outcome, no matter how it looked.
So let's talk. I mean, education is so important, as you mentioned. And last thing, one of the things we spoke about last time we chatted was the transverse abdominis. And I think that you were talking about the Pilates type-based movement. And I guess let's go to that route just before we talk about your new venture. But I want to go that route just a little bit and just talk about the TA itself. We were talking about posture last time, and how to really make sure that this is kind of the foundation. So I want you to go ahead and just kind of educate the audience about what it is and how it can benefit you.
Awesome, for sure. Well, one of the things, like I have had, many years in this because I'm older now, 47 to be exact. But I know that I probably don't look 47.
The shades are back on.
I wear my sunglasses. They cover the wrinkles. Okay, I joke, guys. I'm totally joking here. But no. So one thing I realized over the last 30 years is there's a big gap in, okay, so doing your exercises and fitness and going to see your trainer and doing the work, and a gap between actually the effectiveness of a missing link, which to me is the basis of all movement, which is making sure that you're moving with a proper foundation. So the transverse abdominis is basically like, I liken it to a chain link fence. Okay, so if you have a chain link fence, all the links are solid and connected, which creates integrity in the chain, right? So it's a strong structure, right? It can withstand, forces. If you take one of those pieces, one of the clinks in the chain, so to speak, and cut it, with what's that called? With a wire cutter, I guess. Is that what it's called? A wire cutter?
Yep, wire cutter, yeah.
That fence becomes weakened, right? So it's lost its structural integrity. One of the reasons why when they have buildings, they build in a little bit of that give, right? And that movement. So the transverse abdominis could also be like the center of the onion. So if we are not engaging it properly, it is the deepermost layer, abdominal muscle layer, that supports the spine, that acts as a shock absorber, that basically, when strengthened, helps to strengthen you from the inside out. So that once you have that strengthening and that connection of that area of muscle, which technically doesn't contract, it contracts, it doesn't create movement as much as it creates that bracing, right? So when you can tune into that, brace it, engage it, and start consciously being aware of it, no matter what you do, you're moving more efficiently, more effectively, and you're also, more importantly, helping to prevent injuries down the road from improper, faulty movement mechanics, because that chain link in the fence is weaker or broken. And I see a lot of clients like this, right, over the years, which is why I started to really change how I deliver training and what I start with first and integrate throughout every single session, no matter how long we work together. It's a habit that must be created, so to speak.
So I guess every body is different. So it's hard to say this is how you do it, A plus B equals C. I think that it's very individualized. But if you were to just pull out and just say, for the general population, these are some things that you could do to make sure that you have a strong basis or a strong foundation, I guess, what would you recommend?
Again, great point too, Justin, because using cues. Some are verbal, some are kinesthetic. So you touch someone. Some are visual, so descriptive. A lot of different things for a lot of different clients. And over time, you have to realize this as a trainer and a coach. You learn this, right? In our tool house, we learn what works for different people. So I would say, first of all, imagine the base of your spine, right? The very last part of your spine, which you would think about your tailbone, right? I want you to visualize that, put your mind into that area, and then start to think of pulling that out and lengthening that right up through the rest of your spine, all the way to the top of your head. I love to use the analogy of imagining you have a string right from the top of your crown, but your nose is pointing straight ahead, not up and not down, straight ahead. And imagine that string lifting you gently closer up to the ceiling, right? So you've gained, maybe at least for some people, gain an inch when they're hunched over. That gains them space through the waist. It engages the transverse abdominis, or the TA for short, lifts through that spine, even opens up through the lungs better, so that you're not collapsed and those muscles can open more freely. So you're getting better breath work as well as better movement. Another thing, lift the pelvic floor, imagine your pelvic floor is an elevator. So as you're lengthening through the base of your spine, all the way up to the top of your head through the sternum, lift your pelvic floor slightly. And you'll feel a tightening across your hip bones, okay? You can take your fingers inside the hip bone and feel until you feel just a little bit of tension under your fingers without changing the natural position of your spine, without rounding forward or arching backwards. So you want to brace. It's a very gentle brace. I like to use the analogy of the 80s. Do you remember the 80s? Remember the 80s?
Can I say I was born in the late 80s? And
okay, well, prior to that, we used to rock, sunglasses like this, lipstick, and low slung belts around our hip bones, all right? So Durand think Durand for that. So low slung belts across our hip bones. So I like to use that analogy. So imagine you've got like a belt around your hip bones. I want you to use your transverse abdominis muscle to tighten that belt. Now, keeping that length in your spine, imagine someone's coming up and going to sucker punch you right in the belly without losing the length in your spine. Those are a few quick layman techniques, lay woman, lay person, techniques for engaging that deepermost critical muscle.
Yeah, and it's not something that this is. How do I put this into words? It's something that you can practice almost daily. It's not something that you're probably going to do every single minute of every single day, but maybe if you're just mindful of it. Especially a lot of people right now, the healthcare industry right now, they're very on their feet right now, and they're walking around moving a lot. People who are sitting at desks a lot right now too. Like just being mindful for even 30 seconds to just kind of, adjust yourself and work on it right there. Like that could make massive improvements in your game.
Huge energy, lower back, breathing. And I caught myself doing this morning. I don't know if you can see this, but so I was standing and I'm walking around, and all of a sudden I said, engage your TA. And I braced and I got taller. All of a sudden tension out of my hips. I relaxed my hips. I was taller. I could breathe better, and my energy instantly improved. So just reminding yourself when you're sitting, when you're laying, when you're standing, whenever you're exercising, when you're working out, it's so important to be aware of that. Otherwise, you could be using the wrong areas to try and create that foundation of shock absorbing, right? Embracing at the risk of maybe potential injury down the road. And one common injury is when you bend over to pick up a piece of paper and can't stand back up. Those kind of things don't happen generally overnight. Generally, by that time, this is a day by day, by week, by year lack of core engagement and strengthening that culminates in that, right? Over time. Yeah.
So talk about exercises in the gym itself. The fitness industry, it's sexy to see a lot of crunches, and it's sexy to see leg V-ups and all these exercises. But it doesn't have to be that complicated. Dead bug, that's one of my favorite exercises. Bird dog, like a bird dog crunch, like those kinds of exercises to me are amazing for stability, for strength through that TA. So are there any other exercises that come to the top of the mind?
Those are great exercises. Basically, I will say that any exercise, if you're wanting to really get in touch with the TA, to make sure, because the more you get in touch with it, the more you feel that you have, the easier it is to do it when you're doing other things, say squatting. But exercises that force you to engage your core while maintaining a neutral spine are great. Because then, for example, you're getting into the right muscle, because that muscle, like I said, it doesn't move really anything, right? So while the rest of your body is moving, it is staying braced. So whatever puts you in a position where you can engage the core without changing the position of the spine is wonderful to really start getting into that transverse abdominis. And then, utilize that as you go, because there are positions where you need to use other things. When you're doing crunches, for example, a lot of people, we have tight hip flexors, or hip flexors can really be sneaky, right? They can sneak in there and do the work that we really want those deep abdominal muscles to do, but they take over. So really easy way, let's say you're doing crunches. 2 tips. You can put your feet together and take your knees out wide. You're relaxing those hip flexors, also known as like a butterfly sit-up or butterfly crunch. You can do a lot of different things like that. And maintain a nice neutral spine as you come up with those knees wide to relax your hip flexors. You don't need a lot of range of motion, it's a smaller movement, but it's much more deep. It's a deeper, smaller movement. And the other thing too is, without changing the spine, that's great. The hip flexors, there was one other thing that I was thinking about. Oh, the concept of baking brownies versus baking muffins, right? Everybody loves those nice, big, huge muffins. And let's be honest, if you're like me, you take off the top of the muffin, eat it, and you throw away the bottom or give it to someone else because it's So think of that when you're doing any sort of core work, okay? Whether you're in a prone position, where your tummy, belly button is facing the ground, or you're in a supine where you're up, belly's facing the sky. In those two positions, you want to imagine that you are that you're baking brownies, okay? So you don't want to let your belly and the rectus abdominis, which is the outermost superficial layer of the abdominal group, if that puffs out, you've probably lost that deep TA muscle. So think of baking brownies, all right? That belt across your hip bones. Pull the belly away from the waistband of your pants. I love that cue. Orange Theory Fitness, that's a great cue they use a lot there. And don't bake muffins, bake brownies, okay? Let's be honest, especially now for me after COVID, maybe this much extra belly on me, okay? Not joking. It's about that much, okay? So sometimes when you're, doing your core, it might look like you're baking a little bit of a muffin, but when you're really looking at the movement of what's happening, it's that brownie that you really want. Does that make sense?
100%. That makes sense for sure. Because I think a lot of people, they can visualize that right now. And it's not to say, people in bigger bodies that they're not doing it right. That's completely incorrect too. But it's about being mindful about, am I pushing myself out or am I drawing myself in?
Exactly. And like that. And that's where I was going with my little extra belly, because you might think, oh, no, that's skin. Skin is different than the layer of the muscle underneath. Two totally different tissues, right? Which as a fitness trainer, we spend a lot of time teaching our clients about, okay? So yeah, two totally different things, but it's that concept, right? And that's why it is so great to work with a professional like yourself, like myself, like some of the other really great trainers out there, because we have the eye to watch, okay? So it's that X-ray eye of seeing beneath your skin to what's truly happening there, musculoskeletally.
Definitely. I love that. I wanted to move away from that for just a little bit. And let's talk a little bit about you as a parent. You mentioned earlier you didn't think that you'd have a 4-year-old running around. So how have things changed for you in your training specifically? And, what are you really focused on yourself personally, not your clients, but you personally?
Well, for me personally, I am practicing what I preach and really trying to walk the talk with my clients. So in the olden days, right, in my 20s and 30s, fitness to me, I always had an end goal in mind, whether it was a fitness competition, which I did a few of those, or whether it was a CrossFit competition. So back then, my goals were to have the tightest, leanest, most muscled body possible. And with that came a whole different training structure. Now my goals, my own personal training, is to feel better in my body. It's to know that even if I am 20 or 30 pounds heavier than I was back in those days, I've traded off the amount of time that I used to spend doing those things to have more time doing other things, right? So I don't work out nearly as long anymore. I don't work out nearly to the volume as I do anymore. It's a lot different. Yes, honey. Yeah, I'll be there right away, okay? Just an orange, please. And I'll peel it for you. Okay. Sorry. You're not having any peanuts. You can have an apple, yes. Okay? Have an apple. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so it's definitely different. It's about how I feel now, to feel and be healthy, not so much as what I look like on the outside, because that has really, really, really changed. And I'm trying to not make the look of my body a deal whatsoever with my daughter, because I would really prefer her grow up not identifying with the shape of her body, but rather just to feel strong and healthy. So I will, help teach her that, hey, you are so strong. Oh my gosh, you are so healthy. Look at you ride that bike up that hill, right? It's not, oh, your legs are so long, or, oh, look at your ab muscles. No, it's about you're strong, you're fit. And so I do the same to myself, right? We dance around silly and let her everything hang out, and it's not an issue to even be pointed out, if that makes sense.
I love that. And as you know, we just had our second daughter in the house here, and I have completely shifted my business for that reason. For me, yes, when I first started, it was about 6-pack abs and it was about big biceps and all that jazz. But now I see, you know, what it can do to someone's self-esteem, what somebody's, you know, image of themselves and how they perceive others. So I think that is a really big awakening. And I wanted to just commend you for your post that you put up the other day about your 2-step bikini plan.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah, it's funny. I should have actually taken a few still images of that, because I was trying to go for like that authentic, you know, body. Because the stills, you know, maybe I should post some stills. Like, this is real, right? There's cellulite on the thighs, right? There is loose skin on the tummy, right? That's my Hello Alex tummy now. So I'm expecting, I'm going to do a third one, actually. It's going to be a spoofy one, like more of a spoofy one. I'm just waiting for the bikini to show, or the bathing suit to show up, because it's not going to look anything on me like it does on the model, and that's okay. And that's going to be my next post.
Perfect. I love that. And so for those of you that haven't seen the post, it's basically Julie comes out on video and she goes, here's my 2-step bikini plan. And her first step is find a bikini. Second step is put on the bikini. And that's basically, I mean, it's just, it speaks volumes. I think it's a 17-second video, but it speaks volumes to, you know, the perception that we see in the fitness industry. And I think it's a breath of fresh air to see information like that come out, because I don't know about you, but I'm hearing from a lot of people during COVID, like, oh, I'm gaining weight during COVID, and oh, you know, I have to get back to losing my 10 pounds. But why? Mm-hmm. Like, it's a different time right now. You're probably stressed out where you are. Like, if there's a little bit of weight gain, just don't overjudge yourself. Yeah, do what you can, eat well when you can, work out when you can, but at the same time, a number on a scale doesn't mean anything.
And if you feel great, and you have great energy and you're sleeping well and you can do a push-up, or you feel like you can go for a walk with your kids or grandkids, then whatever size of pants you are, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And not one single, not in no way, shape, or form, pun intended, does your weight or our weight or how much skin we have coming over the top of our jeans or how much our thighs jiggle when we walk or jump in any way, shape, or form take away from our worth or the service that we give to the world or our value to this planet at all, right? And so it's very emotionally and mentally freeing and liberating, because fitness is not just on the outside, it's on the inside too, right? So mental fitness, loving yourself as you are right here and now, which might look different down the road. If you want to feel better, and to you that means you want to lose 10 pounds, that's fine. But just understand, everybody, that you are not defined by that weight or that scale. And scales are a liar, right? Everyone knows that. They fluctuate, 4, 5, 10 pounds a day. That's crazy making. Go by the way your clothes fit, right? And by the way you feel in your clothes. Okay, sunglass time, man.
There we go. I love that. And I mean, that's the thing, is my big things too. There's been so many health indicators that you can really celebrate rather than just 5 pounds down or 10 pounds down or whatever. Like, you're offsetting your chances of dementia or high cholesterol or heart disease. Like you said, sleep, energy levels. We're talking about your ability to rest and recover, the level of water that you're taking in. I mean, the strength that you're gaining from workout to workout, week over week, month to month, and year over year. Like, that to me are the best indicators to health, wellness, fitness, rather than just I'm weighing less than you. And I think I'm partly to blame here because I work in the media. It's images that we perpetuate sometimes, and they come out, and, I'm doing my best as someone, I have that power in the media now to share this podcast out to people right now. And I think it's important to have voices like you on to remind people, and you know what, again, like you said, we're not telling you what to do. If you would feel better losing 10 pounds, then great, that's awesome. But don't do it because you're trying to compare yourself with someone else, do it because the intention there is to get healthier.
Yeah. And as we get older, I have found, because incidentally, I'll share this. So in 2018, when I had this great inspired idea to create the pro-aging programs for women over 40, it was the second big time in my life I felt the gap between what happens to women and maybe even men. I can't speak for you guys, but women as we get older with perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, having had babies, the shifts in our hormone, the changes to our bodies in motherhood, or if we've never been a mother, the shifts in our bodies as we get older through that menopausal process. And so when I was creating the pro-aging programs, it was to give women the information about what was happening with their body and to be really realistic about what we can do. It doesn't have to be fancy. Nobody has invented a new body organ. There has not been a new set of muscles developed. We have the same muscles in our body. The same exercises can work those muscles. So I really tried to make it very simple. And one of the things is I did a lot of focus group. This is the important part. I asked ladies, which image are you more likely to respond to? And I thought I knew the answer, but this cemented it. The images of that perfect body, the one I spent my 20s and early 30s trying to, working my ass off, literally, to have, because I had it, and watching every single thing that went into my mouth to have it, and working out twice a day. They preferred the image of the real woman. In fact, some of the images were women who had 20, 30, even 40 pounds on them, but they were vibrant and happy, right? Happy and comfortable in their skin. Those were the images the women preferred. So it's very interesting that I think a lot of women want to see that shift, and maybe even men, because, for men, they probably would be happy if we let go of a lot of that, making us feel like so upset and we're so focused on that, right? You let go of that, your mental health improves. You can relax, you can have more joy, you can be happier in your body. That energy pervades your community, your immediate family, wherever you go, right? People can pick up on that. So that was kind of on a tangent, but yeah, the pro-aging programs really kind of showed me the direction that women wanted, and even about our thoughts about ourselves. Different topic, but thoughts are things, and our body's listening to what we say about it every single day, every second. We are listening to what we say about ourselves, and our body will believe it because it doesn't know the difference. Science has proven this. So when we can be nice and talk nice about our body and say, hey, you know what? You're awesome. Look in the mirror and say, you are awesome. You're beautiful. You are perfect as you are in this moment. It's just a very powerful, powerful thing.
100%. And that does take work. It takes effort. It's not something that's going to, change overnight. And if you're someone listening or watching right now and, you are struggling with that, just remind yourself, go stand in front of a mirror, even if it's just a little vanity that's in your bathroom, and try to say one thing that you love about yourself every single morning. And for me, if that's going in and looking in and saying, oh, I like the way my ears looked, like something silly like that. I know, but it's starting small and slowly telling yourself that you are worthy and you are beautiful. And, if this sounds too huffy puffy for you and you're someone who wants 6-pack abs all the time and like maybe this isn't the podcast for you, but at the same time, like this is for life. This isn't just someone in their 20s. Like I'm in my 30s, you're in your 40s. I think that people need to realize that this training is for life.
For as we age, we get closer to knowing or to feeling different. It happens. Our bodies do change. We feel a little different and things do shift. We can reverse that or do our best. It's never too late. But as we get older, for me, I want to be able to perform my activities of daily living with ease. So putting groceries away, lifting things over my head, and not be reliant upon the kindness of my family or strangers or people in the care home that I may have to be in one day to do those things for me. I would love to be able to stay as independent as I can, as long as I can. And that's now where things are for me personally, right? So fitness to me has taken on a new level since those 20s and 30s, and especially now being a mom and trying to promote that to my child. Being physically literate for the sake of being able to stay physically active, and because I enjoy moving my body, because it feels good to move your body, right? Yeah. If you don't believe me, just go and start doing something for 2 minutes. Do it for 2 minutes. Yeah. And you'll start to release those great feelings. And 2 minutes might become 3, becomes 4. So for anyone that is listening, you might be feeling, well, I'm not motivated to do anything anyway, so this is good, or I don't feel motivated, but I want to feel motivated. Do something for 2 minutes, even if it's just dancing around or shuffling side to side, and get that body moving. And guaranteed, more often than not, you will want to keep moving because it just feels good.
Totally. And one of my big things too is promoting, during this COVID time, before when things were quote unquote normal, you could go in, do your 60-minute session, but a lot of people are feeling without that, they don't have that scheduled appointment in, right? But how many people in your neighborhood are you seeing walking around, running on their bikes, playing sports with the kids, jumping up and it's just, to me, I think COVID has created an opportunity for people to say, I'm so bored of my house that I'd like to get outside and move my body. So for me, I think that this has created a huge opportunity for people to realize, and I love seeing people walking out in my neighborhood. I see it, we're on a busy street here, and I see it every single day. Kids on their rollerblades. I'm seeing parents, purchasing scooters. And have you ever, you've maybe seen the headlines too, dumbbells are selling out for the first time. It's just, to me, I think the opportunity that COVID has created, as unfortunate as it is, it's at the same time, people are rediscovering themselves. And I love that.
Yeah.
So let's take the shift. We talked about, as we age, but you have a new venture. So let's talk about what's going on with you now and what your big focus is.
Right. So 2 ends of the spectrum. My partner and I have used this this time during this COVID experience to look at what we really want to do and ignite our passion towards physical literacy in children, because that is so important, because that's where it starts, right? If we have a really solid foundation as a child to fall in love with movement or feel confident and competent moving, chances are we'll keep moving. And it's also so great socially, right? It helps connect us to our bodies and to other people. Into confidence. So we are the regional operators. We've purchased the Dance Play preschool recreation region from Dance Play, an international company based in Vancouver. That's where the head office is. And we have created Kids Play Adventures Inc., which provides dance play preschool programs, which is all about promoting physical literacy and positive mental health in kids 3 to 5, actually 2 to 5. In Calgary South and the Foothills County. So huge area where we'll be offering, day homes, daycares, preschool centers, community centers, parents, families, the opportunity to participate in these award-winning dance programs. So every child loves to play. I'm sure you even like to play. We like to play. So now I get to be a professional big kid, which is always something I've loved to do, dancing around, being silly, but I get to do it as my job and help promote that in other families and in other children through Kids Play Adventures Inc. and Dance.
Wow, that is, I think, okay, let's be honest here. Anybody who's a parent who's listening to this right now, when you have a kid that is moving and understands that it's about the fun, and that is just really eye-opening. And now that there's, a venture that does that, Kids Play Ventures Inc., I think that that's a big deal for anybody who's in South Calgary, the Foothills region. You got to check this out. What are the age?
So much
Sorry.
Fun.
Yeah. So talk about the age range. Talk about what it looks like. Is it structured programs? Give me the 50-foot overview.
So we play with dance in a fun way, right? So we use fun music, fun movements. It's all about physical literacy. So it's just to get the kids moving. So from 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, and 5-year-olds. So it is a class based. So, your parents drop your kids off, or if it's online, the whole family can participate, right? Any of the family can be there, any grown-ups, grandparents, whoever. And so lots of different fun songs and choreography that targets all the foundational movement skills. So twisting, jumping, leaping, balancing, running, walking, all of those things. And it's put to music and it's put to play, right? So there are 3 rules, and this is the part I love the best. 3 rules, which is be positive. So instead of saying I can't, or I won't, or I'm not good at this, You step onto the other side of that line and think, well, step 1 is I will try. Step 2 is, hey, I'm doing this. And step 3 is I'm awesome, right? The second rule is be fun. So we believe that you can't have fun. Justin, look beside you. Can you see any fun on the table right beside you? Is there fun next to you? No. You have to be fun, right? So we're going to be fun. And the third rule of dance play is be yourself. So you don't look like me. I don't look like anyone else in the world. We are all different. We have different likes. We think differently. We move differently. And your jumping jack looks different than mine. If I pretend to be an elephant, guaranteed it's going to look different than yours. So be yourself. Those are the 3 rules of the dance play program. And it is so much fun. And then we all get to step into our bubble of awesome and understand through play, through dance, through these programs, how awesome we are.
That is amazing. And I love that it's, you know, it's foundational. It's foundational movements, and it's sorry, I don't want to, for lack of a better term, but it's disguised as fun, right? And to get that, yeah. And it's, you know, to start at such a young age, I think is so important. Tell me a little bit about, you know, with COVID going on, like, is there a physical location? Is this online? Like, how does it look right now?
So this is, well, we started this in the midst of COVID. So we knew going in, it will most likely, until we get a really good understanding of what is happening with gatherings, right? With everything. For now, we're going to start mid to late June with online programs. The classes will be anywhere from probably, 30 to 45 minutes. So we'll have a few dances. We have the introduction, and it gives kids time to play and dance, gives, the grown-ups a little bit of a break too while they're doing that. And then moving forward, the goal definitely is going to be, face-to-face, in-person programs where we can have that different dynamic, that interaction with kids, and really connect with them while they connect with others. And then, as caregivers, as the grown-ups, selfishly, I'm a fan of drop-off and go programs, right? Being a mom myself, because my child tends to do better when I'm not around, when she knows I'm not there. So the ultimate goal will be, they're usually unparented classes, so the parents come, drop them off, come back in a half an hour, 45 minutes, or an hour, pick up your wee one. They're going to be having a blast and probably a better night's sleep. So all those details will be shared on our website in the next couple weeks, but online to start, and the goal in person as we develop those programs. I have a feeling parents are always looking for opportunities for their 3 to 5-year-old kids. This actually is the third gap I have realized in my career, is the need for programming that speaks to those 3 to 5-year-olds in a very fun way at their level and where they're at mentally and physically. So this is amazing. You can check out Dance Play or Play Inc. The A in play is the number 3. Can you guess why?
The 3 rules.
Yay! You get a prize. All right, I'll give you your own private little ABC, circus, or pirate dance song.
Love that. No, put the glasses on for me again. That'll be my prize.
So this is me trying to really, really get in touch with my inner child and be more playful, more fun, and more joyful. Because if COVID has taught me anything, it is that, well, it's a great opportunity to go within, right? All those things that we don't have or haven't been doing, to really embrace who we really are and what we really want, right? So fitness aside, who are you? Who really are you? What do you really want? What lights you up inside? What would you do every day, all day long, if you could? If you had a magic wand and can do that? So to me, it's being silly and fun, putting on ponytails and really silly glasses, or doing, bikini body videos, because I don't care. It's about how I feel about myself.
Yeah, big time.
I have to live with myself until forever. So
love that. So throw out the socials, the social media handles again, throw out the website again, so that in case people want to get more information.
Okay. On Facebook, it is at Kids Play Adventures Inc. Same on Instagram, Kids Play Adventures Inc. Our website, super easy, www.kidsplayadventures.ca, not .com.ca.
Love that. Julie, this has been great. I'm so glad that we finally had a chance to kind of have this conversation. We had some technical issues about, a week and a half ago. We had COVID. We had a baby in my life. So I really appreciate your time. This was so great.
great posts. You still make such great posts.
Hey, listen, we're trying to get that information. We're trying to get the right information out there, and, you know, trying to educate people. Like you just said, this is all about education, and this is all about helping people realize that their worth is more than just a number on a scale. It's more than just, you know, sweating for the sake of sweating. I mean, there's a lot that goes into this. So that's what I'm really passionate about, and I can see the passion just shine out in you too. And thank you so much for everything that you've been doing.
You are so welcome, and thank you, honey, for not eating an apple. It's like chocolate on her face. So mommy gets to see what Alex has been getting into now.
Good luck with that. Julie, where can people find you personally if they want more information about you?
2 sites, they're the same. It is www.fitnessover40.org, O-R-G, or www.juliehodge.ca. Fitnessover40.org is the new official domain, but juliehodge.ca should still work.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording here. Just hang out for a minute, but thank you so much.